Do I really need to eat breakfast? Carbs are bad. I should avoid gluten, right? I have to avoid dairy if I'm lactose intolerant. Hi, I'm Jaclyn St. John. I'm a registered dietitian and the health and wellness manager at Dairy West. These are all nutrition questions that I hear very often. Are you surprised? Probably not, right? As soon as I say I'm a dietitian, somebody has their burning food question that they want to ask. So one of the reasons I'm so passionate in the work that I do is to dispel some of those myths and those facts you just heard me say in those questions. Nutrition can be confusing, right? You see labels here that say this, you see a claim that says this, you read something on the internet, and you're like, what do I believe? What's true? What's false? As with most things, you can find anything you want to find on the internet. This is another reality why I'm passionate in the work that I do. It's really important to understand your source. So as a dietitian, I have a minimum bachelor's degree. Most often there's a master's. I have a master's, but most dietitians, the minimum's a bachelor degree. They have to take a 2,000 plus hour practical internship experience before they're even eligible to sit for a credentialed exam. A nutritionist, on the other hand, can take an exam online and call themselves credentialed. So when you're accepting nutrition information from people, it's important to understand the source. Going back to the internet, there's also a way to assess credibility online. As you know, being university students, most universities are credible sources, right? If you find a .edu or you find a .org in the URL, oftentimes that's a credible source. .com, you have to do a little bit more digging. Research where that information's coming from. Anybody can put anything on the internet and establish a .com URL. By a show of hands, how many of you have read or heard something recently about food that made you either question what you were eating or attempt to change your eating pattern? All of us, right? Including me. You read it and you're like, that's interesting. Okay, I wonder if I try that. Maybe I'll, feel a little better in my pants. Maybe I will have some more energy. Maybe I will be able to do the things that I love and enjoy. So all of us have heard things and information online. However, did you consider the source? How many of you considered the source when you heard the information? Hopefully, after today, you may consider the source of where you heard that information. Another reality, why communication and media has such an influential voice, right? Oftentimes it's either from a communication channel or a platform, maybe a news anchor, maybe a media outlet, you hear all kinds of things. Just coming back to what I do and working at Dairy West, as a health and wellness program manager, I get the opportunity to work in all different areas. You may think that we only promote dairy, but the reality is, as a dietitian, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't promote all food groups, right? We know and we believe that dairy is an absolutely important component of a healthy eating pattern, but it's not the only one. So we promote all food groups. Again, as to the reason why, communication and media, you'll see on the front of Times Magazine, butter is bad. And then a year later you see, but is it? Butter's back in. You guys seen that? There's a lot of myths and facts just around dairy, but there's a lot of myths and facts around nutrition as a whole. So another reason why communication and media have such an influential voice and why I love what I do. I'm honored to work on behalf of the Idaho's and Utah dairy farm families through our marketing and promotion organization. Another tricky thing about nutrition information is communicating it in a fun and engaging way is a skill. Not everybody wants to read a science summary, right? Like, well, I just want to see the results. Like, what happened? What is good? What is bad? But to take that science summary and communicate it into a 30-second video to display that information to you in a fun and engaging way, you'll get 1,000 views online. So to be able to do that, and another reasons why I love what I do, take a science summary and be able to communicate it into a fun and engaging way that is of interest to an audience and your consumer. So one of the things at Dairy West that we have a video series, and it's called You Asked, We Answered. And what it is on our website, it provides the platform for consumers to ask their nutrition questions. And we identify the correct, professional, credible source to answer that question and then deliver it in a fun and engaging way. So your burning food questions, we'd love for you to ask us, dairywest.com. You can go on and ask your question and we'll deliver the answer to you from a credible source in a fun way. In addition to the video series, we also partner with organizations such as the Idaho Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the Idaho School Nutrition Association. These are organizations that are credible professionals as well. They have an organization for their members. We host continuing education opportunities for them. A lot of credentials in the health professional world required continuing education credits. And for that reason, things are always changing, right? Science is evolving, different things are coming out. As a dietitian, you have to keep 75 continuing education credits every 5 years to maintain your licensure. So we host those events for professionals. We bring in nationally recognized speakers and host continuing education opportunities. We also provide free nutrition education resources for educators and professionals throughout Idaho and Utah. They order them on our website, we send them to them in the quantities that they need, and then they use them to complement their nutrition lessons. Another really cool program that I lead is our Fuel Up to Play 60 program. Have any of you heard of Fuel Up to Play 60? No? Maybe the Play 60 part? So the Fuel Up to Play 60 is a partnership within the dairy councils and the NFL. The Play 60 piece you've probably seen if you watched any NFL games. That's the importance of 60 minutes of physical activity every day. And then the Fuel Up piece is the nutrient-rich foods, healthy eating. So this program offers $4,000 a year to schools nationwide to implement healthy eating and physical activity initiatives. As the local program manager, I'm proud to say that our Idaho and Utah dairy farm families have provided over $1.3 million to our schools in our two states since the inception of the program in 2010. But this program impacts 73,000 schools nationwide. So it's a really awesome program doing really neat things around healthy eating and physical activity initiatives in schools. Have you ever heard of an everyday weekend warrior or a fitness enthusiast at the neighborhood gym seeking to optimize performance through the foods that they eat? Probably, right? Dairy's unique nutrient package and high quality protein, inexpensive and convenience positions itself as a great performance fuel for greatness. Another opportunity that I host are our sports nutrition initiatives. We have found just as many people in the sports fitness world have just as many questions about food as your general consumer when it comes to myths and misperceptions. Another reason why communication efforts, blog posts, articles, guest speakers are making a difference and have an influential voice. Our opportunity to get people onto a farm to see and hear from the farmer themselves builds that credibility. How many of you have been on a dairy farm? Oh, good. Awesome. That's great. Well, we take advantage of any opportunity that we can to get people on dairy farms to make that connection with the farmer themselves and to feel good about knowing where their food comes from. Did you know that only 2% of our country's population are farmers? And they provide for the other 98% of us. Our generations are so far removed from agriculture and the farmers. The opportunity to make that connection between agriculture, nutrition, we all have to eat food, right? Understand where it comes from is a really powerful thing. Also, by 2050, the population will grow to 10 billion people. That's more than 3 billion people, or that's 3 billion more people than we currently have on the world since 2010. This will require 70% more food, right? That gets people like emotional. When you talk about food, people care and they want to feel good about what they eat and where it comes from and that it's being grown and it's being produced in a sustainable and impactful way, right? For future generations to consume. So you may be asking yourself, how's this possible? How are we going to feed 3 billion more mouths with 70% more food than what we have today? And what can you do to do your part? A sustainable food system is about community vitality. It's about conservation of national resources. It's about alleviating hunger and so much more. You can help by honoring the harvest. You can help by reducing food waste, by consuming and choosing nutritious foods with portion control so that you're not wasting food that doesn't need to be wasted, to help ensure that everyone has access to nutrient-rich foods. I hope that you'll join me and others on this journey. Thank you so much.